What's up, movers? This is Conor Milstein, founder of ISO Movement Systems. If you're new here, welcome. I teach universal principles to help people exist and move without fear. Today, we're sitting down with my one on one coaching client, Natalia. We're going to get a little bit of info on her backstory and her journey through the ISO program. Natalia's gone through everything from the essentials all the way through to the graduate level of ISO work. And we're going to get a little bit of backstory on her now and understand exactly what her experience was. All right, so Natalia, started off real quick with a little explanation of where you're from and what do you do for work?
I'm from Miami and I own a marketing agency.
Lovely.
Yeah.
And what did you do this morning?
I meditated, worked out, and had a work call before this.
Of course you did.
Yeah,
Perfect.
pretty standard morning.
Now, if you can remember, it was some time ago now, but what was it? What was the reason that you first came in for coaching?
Oh, of course I remember that. I had a horseback riding accident and hurt my back pretty bad a few years back and tried absolutely everything I could think of to rehab from physical therapy to chiropractors, yoga, Pilates, even those electric pulse things. I don't know what they're called, where they like put them on your back.
E
And you're like, oh,
E-stim, E-stim,
that.
stimulation, electric. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. Awesome.
Massage,
No,
all of it. Yeah.
not awesome. So yes, Natalia had some interesting back issues, and if I remember correctly, there was some scoliosis in there as well, right?
Yes.
Was that from
Yeah.
childhood?
From childhood, I've always had mild scoliosis. Nothing major, but one side of my back is definitely more inflamed than the other.
Got it.
And yeah, one day I remember I was in a therapy session with Flynn, which I'm sure a lot of people here will know. And I had a little bit of a breakdown because I was only 30 years old and I was in so much back pain. It was hard to like breathe, and just even getting out of bed or laying down flat on my back on the floor was painful. And I was like, "Is this gonna be like this forever?" And he was like, "I need to introduce you to Connor." And here we are.
Yes, shout to Flynn Skidmore, my best good buddy in the whole wide world, top-notch, world-class therapist.
The best.
Absolutely suggest checking him out if you've not. And so Natalia, Flynn is probably the best referral source that you
Sure.
can have. This man is worldly educated and extremely discernible. He will always be very upfront about what he likes and what he doesn't, and if something's any good. So Natalia, the next question was about any apprehensions you had coming in, which coming from that referral source, you might not have had any, but were there any thoughts in your head about getting started or any fears that you had when we first got rolling?
Honestly, not really, just because I had already tried so many other things. I was kind of at this point where I'm like, I don't care, just tell me what to do at this point. Like whatever you say, I'll do. I was just at that point where I was like
Got
tired of
it.
it and willing to try absolutely anything to make some progress.
Yeah, that's actually a surprisingly common bit that I get. Usually, by the time I get a call, no matter the referral source, no matter how someone finds me, they're at the end of their road, right? They've tried everything. Um, and by trying everything, what they're really saying is they've ran the gamut of what we would call industry standard fixes. All the things that we've been taught should be effective in healing. All right, unfortunately, I learned this the hard way myself. That's not necessarily the case. There is way more out there. There's a lot more that can get done. And now Natalia gets to tell us all about the different options. So, speaking of that, in our in the beginning of our journey here, about how long did it take you to start seeing results in the back pain?
In the back pain, I would say within 3 months. Yeah, within 3 months, I started to experience days without pain. And then within like 6 months, I would say I started to experience like a week without pain, or not even a week, just
Mhm.
a few days at a time where I was like, oh, wow, I forgot that I have back pain. And then a few months after that, I started to experience weeks without back pain. And then within a year, I remember experiencing like a month without back pain, and I was like,
Hmm.
this is wild. And
Very
then yeah,
good.
over time it just became less and less until one day I just stopped. It stopped becoming it stopped being the new normal. So
Yes, exactly. And that's couple big things to note in there. One, I run all of my one-on-one coaching programs in quarters because it does take about 3 month periods to go through the educational portions and then get enough time and repetition to be able to start seeing changes. And the other big thing to take away from that is the windows of what I call windows of calibration. All right, so the way that our body works, we have grooves or pathways or axes that we operate through. And what Natalia was experiencing, she was riding pain-based or inflammatory imbalanced pathways. And those pathways aren't just built overnight. They might have been exposed by the horseback riding accident,
yeah,
but those are things that would have been built over the years that created the Natalia that fell off the horse that then spurred major back issues. Right.
definitely.
So,
I remember having like certain sessions where I would leave horseback riding and have a super sore back for a few days where I couldn't ride. So I
mhm.
had already been experiencing some kind of pattern-based pain, but it wasn't painful enough to go and do
Yeah.
something like this until
Yes.
an accident. Yeah, when I was
Absolutely.
19 years.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it took Natalia about a year to completely overwrite the pain-based patterning. And that my standard absolutely is permanence in the result. And could we have taken that first 3 months and only focused on her, getting her out of immediately out of back pain? Yes, absolutely. However, that wouldn't have been enough to override the pain-based patterns. And she
Mm,
would have landed herself very likely in the same exact position or worse. So I'm not somebody that's going to allow that to happen. I'm going to work double time to be honest and take somebody through a journey that's going to create a completely different organism,
yeah.
not able to ever go back to those pain-based patterns and pathways. And then the what Natalia just brought up there is a fun little riff because pain is a subjective thing. And
Discomfort.
exactly. I use the word pain because everyone tends to understand it. And yes, everyone's going to have a different threshold for pain, but the reality is we shouldn't be experiencing that discomfort, that pain, that injury-based patterning ever. That should never be the case. So it doesn't matter if it's just like, oh, I'm a little achy after I play a sport. Oh, I'm a little, I rode a horse and now I need to take 3 days off. Something like that. It shouldn't be like that. Our body is built to be resilient enough
Yeah.
to undergo stress and heal. But if we go into that instance, sport, horseback riding, in those pain-based patterns, then our stress bucket is already full, and we're taking that full bucket over the top, and it creates a level of we're now at a capacity that we can't heal from, or at least heal from quickly.
Yeah.
So over
And
that
it's
year of
funny.
time, yeah, go ahead.
I remember my horseback riding coach to help me with my posture and to help me with the scoliosis pain that was coming from riding. She would have me in a vest that like opened my chest. I don't know if you've
Mm.
seen those, but it's like a
Like
corrective, you
like the
know,
correct, yeah, the posture
yes,
corrector, like
where there's like a
one,
wire in the back of it, and
yes.
and that's how she would make me ride. So like just to alleviate some kind of pain, and then I was combining that with chiropractors twice a week. Um, yeah, and I remember the chiropractor telling me like horseback riding is probably the worst sport you could have possibly chosen for your back. I was like, okay, great, thanks.
That's terrible. I hope no one ever, if anyone ever tells you guys that, don't listen. That's not true. That's just because of the state that Natalia's back was starting in.
Yeah.
Um, Thank you for that, Natalia. And oh, little bit that I haven't told Natalia ever. Since you have begun, there's been two other serious horseback rider clients now. One is a jumper, and one is just a show, like a show rider, basically
Dressage.
doing
Mhm.
things. What's it called?
Dressage, I
Yeah,
imagine.
it's she's French. So
Yeah.
it's something like that where she goes like in the stirrups, out of the stirrups, but everything's just posture and posing,
Yeah.
not performance. Um, and both of them had physical pain. Both of
Oh,
them had physical pain. and both of them are doing fantastic now, to
Amazing.
the point where I'm actually coaching how to coach the horses, which I don't think I've told you about. Yeah, it's a
Oh
really
my
fun,
God.
it's a really
Okay,
fun
we
one.
need to talk about this off of this
Hmm.
because I have questions.
Yes, I'm learning all the horse mechanics and making sure the rider and the horse are able to position in a way that they are communicating clearly,
Oh
or they're
my God.
speaking the same language, and
Really?
um, able to be a little bit more effective and efficient in the performance.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah,
Sold.
fun little fun little sidebar. And now to give you a new question, what were some of the things that you learned along the journey that you didn't expect to learn?
That I didn't expect to learn. I would say the biggest one was learning how to look at the body as a whole system versus isolated parts. I've told you this before, but I remember in one of our first few sessions where you were making me do like squat rebuilds and hinge rebuilds. And I remember while I was doing them thinking to myself, like, how is this going to help me with my back pain? Like, this has nothing to do with my back. And now that I've gone through all of this, I'm like, of course it was going to help me with my back pain. But it's so funny how we're so used to thinking like the way that I was trained in physical therapy for that injury was, doing like rows and very specific static movement exercises that just incorporated my upper back.
Yes,
And
totally. That's another factor of just simple logic, which is what we've over relied on in today's health, fitness, and wellness industries, where, oh, I have an injured back, let's strengthen muscles around back. I have an injured knee, let's strengthen muscles around knee. Right.
resistance bands and all of those things and
And
never sweating. It was just
I
static.
get it. I get it. It makes like it sounds like it would make sense, right?
Yeah.
Sounds simple enough. But yes, as you've learned, usually the area have of pain is just the expression of it, where the entire system as a whole and how it operates needs to be an integrative quality so that it's always sharing the load of work. So, as you've learned to this point, we don't do leg day. We don't do chest day, back day, push day, pull day.
I
We don't
love that we don't do
we
that.
don't focus on that.
Yeah.
There's not a day that goes by where you're not working every single one of those body parts all of the time. So when you sit back and do the math and you're like, okay, even if I hit leg day religiously twice a week, every week for 52 weeks, it doesn't even come close to the amount of time you work your legs now,
Yeah.
which is every single day of
I
the
mean, we've
week.
seen it in the way that my body has progressed and needing to buy new jeans and new clothes entirely just because it's changed so much.
Yeah, that was one of the next questions is so aside from the pain parts, because I don't love to talk about the aesthetic parts of this
Yeah,
because it's just too easy to get caught up in low level thinking or surface level thinking.
surface level.
But were you able to experience some physique changes along the way?
100%. Really great changes. I'm happy with where it's headed, and it's wild because I've never really had a problem with being like motivated and consistent with working out. I've gone through a lot of personal trainers since I was in college, and some of them were more like some were famous and known for training really large Instagram models and things that
Hmm.
they became famous for, and we would do I remember working out 6 days a week, 2 hours a day, eating as much food as I could put down. I was like struggling to get through meals and doing everything right, everything that I was told to do, and still like my body wouldn't change, it wouldn't grow. I was always petite, but there was like no muscle mass, and I was what they called skinny fat.
Yeah.
um,
Yep,
yeah,
I get that. That's always an interesting conversation, especially with the ladies, is it's not just the ladies, but especially with the ladies. Is, Connor, I don't want to get muscular. I don't want to get buff. I don't want to be, there's these
yeah,
thoughts of what I don't want to be. And most people that are working with me have had experience in a gym, in some type of exercise routine in their lives, and they're doing things according to what they should result in.
right.
So. Natalia's going to the gym, probably, if I have to guess, with most ladies, you're going to want um, a toned, thin body
Yep.
that looks
Strong.
strong. Yeah, exactly. That
Yeah.
looks strong. Yet it's something that seemingly evades most people.
Yeah.
This this
I
physique
could
of it.
not do it, like for the life of me. And I had trainers who would tell me, like, I don't understand what we're missing here. You're eating enough food, you're working out harder than a lot of the other people I train, yet nothing is happening. And I'm like, is something just wrong with my body? Is it just not meant to grow or like, gain muscle mass? And it's funny because now I technically work out less than I worked
Yeah.
out then, but I'm way stronger and it shows physically. I've had to completely change a lot of my wardrobe because of it. And yeah,
hmm
which at first was also a little scary, like needing to buy
Ex
new jeans
that's
because
where
they
I
were
was
getting
going next.
small and yeah, like
That's where I was
shorts and
going.
everything was. I was like, wait a second, like what's happening? Am I like gaining weight? Am I, But in the mirror, I liked how it was looking, so I was like, okay, I think this is just what it's like to gain muscle mass, and I wasn't familiar with the feeling.
Exactly. And that's what I was about to go into next. So now the result's actually there,
Yes,
right? And it's scary.
it is.
The real shift in your body is scary. And I've had so many different, well, usually the work I'm doing is bringing people to neutral, right? Bringing people to what they actually are,
Right.
which is by all means, every human being is built to be athletic, built to be efficient, which would be lean, toned, capable, and accessible. So when you start to reconstruct your body, you're not just building muscle, you're literally reforming the way the tissue sits. So your butt starts to not get bigger, like saggier, but sits higher and tighter, bouncier. All right, things like that. The taper from your shoulders down to your waist gets tighter. The shape of your shoulders starts to round out and tone out. Jaw, neck, throat, chin, cheeks, everything starts to fill but stay tight
Yep.
and high. Right? So when people start to see that, oh my goodness, I have all my jeans no longer fit, but then they check the scale, that's a really funny one to me because
Yeah.
sometimes the number goes down and the pant size goes up. Sometimes the number goes up and the pant size goes down, and it
My
goes
number went
all.
up and the pant size went up. So at first
It,
it freaked
the,
me out because I was like,
I
oh my
see
God.
I
Yeah.
see all different orientations.
Yeah.
Right? Yes, Natalia is a petite young lady, uh, going up in numbers. What she needed, she didn't need any more smallness. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Um, So yeah, I think it's an important thing to touch on is the physique part of things, even though I don't love to talk about it. I just want to give people that haven't tried this some ease, and alleviate the fears
It's like a
around.
cherry on top. Like you get out of pain,
Exactly,
and also you start to look better. And yeah.
exactly. And that's how it becomes a lifelong practice.
Yeah.
Whereas when I started, it was just to get back to my normal workouts, just to get out of the inflammation and pain that I was in. And then once I started to see the physical result from it, all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm getting more result from this than I was my old workouts. Why am I trying to rush to get back to there?
Yeah.
What am I doing?
And I'm giving myself my best chance at being injury proof, right?
Exactly. So you end up getting all of that result if you do it the right way. It is harder. It's more humbling. It's more honest. It's more in your
Why
face.
do anything else? It's just,
But why do it any other
once
way?
you
Exactly.
experience it, you're like, why would I do anything else? Nothing else is as effective. So,
And speaking of all of the different routes that you've tried, what were some things that you would say your current program, your current workout, what are the ways in which it differs from some of the more traditional, even the really popular approaches?
mm, I would say the way that I feel when I'm finished with my workout is a big one. After weight training and doing things like that, you're used to feeling sore and kind of heavy, and like you need to rest and do absolutely nothing and go lie down and go just chill out. Whereas with this one, it's like when I finish my workouts, I feel lighter and bouncier. And we've used these words,
Mhm.
springier and all of these things. And if anything, I feel ready to go do more things. So,
Very
it
good.
yeah, the result and how I feel after is a big one. Um, And overall, also, I would say during the workouts, it just feels more complete. Like every single part of my body is getting some kind of workout. There's never something that's being lazy or that we're not working. And I really like the feeling of that whole system working as one, rather than just like, let's go do back day, but then your legs are like, not active.
Yeah, I didn't really think about that. It's like a warm hug in your whole body instead of demolished in one part.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Everything feels worked out all the time and it feels great.
I haven't thought about that in a long time.
Yeah.
Natalia was just phrasing right there and framing right there for all you guys is the indicators of what a workout should feel like. We want you leaving more energized rather than depleted. We want you feeling lighter in your body rather than heavy and slumpy and uh, lazy and fatigued. I myself was addicted to that heavy, slumpy feeling, that sore, beat up feeling, because it made me feel as though I was
Me too.
doing what I should do.
Yeah.
Um, what now, when I look back and understand a little bit more, I realize I was just hiding from all of the various challenges and humbling moments that come from a more complete training regimen, which, yeah, that Natalia just sent me back down memory road right there.
And I sweat more, which is
You
unfamiliar.
sweat it all. You swe-
You called
what
me
did
out
you
for
tell me? What did you tell me in the beginning? I don't.
I thought that I couldn't sweat. And I
That's hilarious. That's right. You said that.
and I
She
liked
literally
it.
said this, guys. Yeah,
And I
right. You
liked
were proud of it.
Yeah, I was
Exactly.
proud of it. I was like, oh, I don't sweat. I just get a little rosy, little red, like blush a
Yeah.
little. And I thought it was cute. And now I know better. But yeah.
Absolutely. That goes into that's just a normal social construct where no, we don't want to see people. It's not cool
Yeah.
to let people see you struggle. It's not
And as a
cute.
woman also, like you want to look pretty and you want to, be like perfect and yeah,
Hmm.
so it's
Keep
funny
the
how that
hair and makeup
Yeah.
pristine. Oh yeah. Yes, that identity shift is a really notable result that I see all the time. Both male and female go through this identity shift where you come to a point where you're serving yourself so well and enjoying it, you're fulfilled so deeply that you truly stop caring. You
Yeah.
stop caring about that old thinking pattern of, oh, I don't want to look like I'm struggling. I don't want to look like I'm dirty. I don't want to look like I'm fatigued. All right, all these things that everyone thinks about, by the way. It's not just you. That's everybody. Um, but very few are able to, unless you have the right framework, it's very hard to overcome that.
Yeah, and
All
also
right,
the feeling of real power and strength is so incredible that like the benefits of that just far outweigh, the way that people perceive you while you're working out. It's like I want to get this
Absolutely.
feeling above all else. Like when you're calibrated and in the zone and you're like, oof, yes, like this just feels good. It's like nothing can beat that.
I
No way.
couldn't agree more. It's complete is the right word. You feel the opposite of empty. The
Yeah.
opposite of empty. I can't tell you how many hours I spent training and feeling empty inside ultimately. And
You feel kind of high. I always
yeah,
tell you after some of our sessions, I feel high.
yeah,
Just like
absolutely. You
clear
get
out.
all the fluid moving in your body, right? Like, you know, anything from vibration plates to lymph massage to electric stim, right? They're all for the same thing. They're for stimulation and moving fluid, moving energy, moving whatever molecules shouldn't be there. And it is quite an intense, especially in the beginning, quite an intense stark difference in how you feel. And it's eye-opening. The next question to piggyback off of that was, has the other areas, so obviously we spend a lot of time in physical, but in the other areas of your life, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, has anything else shifted?
Oh, 100%. I would say one of the big ones is just the pursuit of following my desires is a big one, and going after the things that I want with a little bit more aggression and just determination, I guess. It's like when you're, I remember toward the beginning of our journey together, I remember a lot of the movements that I was doing, you literally told me, like, I can see the fear. It's like you're leaning back, you're afraid to fall forward, you're afraid to do whatever, XYZ. And in the process, I remember there were moments where you would tell me, like, fall. I actually want you to fall. Like, just over cue so hard that you actually fall down. And that was just the goal, to help me realize that, like, okay, I fell and I'm not dead. Like, I'm still okay. I'm still alive. And the process of doing that physically 100% reflects in all other areas of life, because once you see that you can do it physically, you're like, oh, what happens if I go and over cue in this other area of my life? Like, what happens then? Like, I'm still okay. I'm still alive. And yeah, you start to love it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You hear all the time in coaching settings where so much of success is trusting your ability to step forward and potentially fail, potentially fall, not fear that what if. And so many of us are walking around scared, whether it's conscious or subconscious, doesn't really matter. The it's so easy to overthink and put yourself in scenarios where, and sometimes maybe you literally had experiences that were negative, that would tell you that failure or fear is the right thing
Yeah.
in that instance. But yes, most of us have to learn how to take the emergency brake off of our body and get rid of the parachute that we've been lugging around, that's been anchoring us down without us realizing. All right, and if you're listening to this and you're conscious of this, definitely go ahead and start removing that now. If you've never heard this, or you've not thought this about yourself, just think, what are the things that you desire, and in what ways are you not letting yourself do that? All right, it comes up in more ways than you think. It's pervasive across all the facets of life, all the way from physical up the ladder to your belief system. All right, now, if you could go back, Natalia, to the very beginning and tell yourself one thing, anything, what would you tell yourself?
Like before working with you,
Into the, yeah, you could say before or in the very beginning when we first started.
this is about to change your life in more ways than you can possibly imagine. Just keep going.
You would
Don't think
say,
about it.
you would tell you, okay, no overthinking.
No, you know me. How's this gonna help me? What am I gonna do? What happens if this happens? Just overthinking
Yes,
everything, getting out of my
exactly.
head and just going more into my body and just doing the damn thing. And yeah,
Got it. So you would take the emergency brake off sooner.
yes,
Very good.
exactly.
Very good. And guys, that's a pretty common one right there. It's, I don't put people into scary instances just to scar you. I will always slowly build trust within yourself, not allow you to fall too fast if that's not your personality. I'm going to always meet you exactly where you
You were
need to
very
be.
gentle with me. You were
Yes.
very patient and gentle.
Yes, and sometimes that's the right approach. That's,
Yeah.
I didn't learn
Sometimes.
that until later in my career. Um, but yes, sometimes that is the right, I mean, all the time, the right approach is to meet someone where they're at.
Yeah.
And I do think a lot of people get afraid because they see me work out. Right? They see me work out, and that's the only viewpoint that they have. And I could totally see why that would be scary. It's aggressive and stupid, right? In a lot of ways,
You're 10 years ahead.
it's ridiculous, right? Exactly. And I try and remind people that most of the work is as slow and patient and um, risk-free as you will ever find. But it's hard to put that on Instagram and make people be interested in it
Yeah.
because you want to see flashier things.
Yeah.
So it
Something
is a
that
tough
you
one.
aspire to do, right?
Mhm.
Something
It is a
inspirational.
tough one to communicate that, but this is a great platform to do it on.
Yes.
And then finally, would you say that everything that you've learned is worth the money you've spent?
1,000% yes. 1,000%
Excellent.
yes.
Excellent.
No
I want to
and more.
always I always like to over deliver on anything anyone spends. Um, the reality is I would offer all of this education for free if given the chance, and I have tried to do that. However, it doesn't work. So I have to slap a hefty price tag on it and ensure that people are bought in on as many levels as they can, just so that they can avoid that last question that I just asked Natalia. They can avoid the looking back and saying, wow, this could have gone a lot faster. Wow,
Mm,
this could have been a much more easy trajectory up, had I just known this, this, and this.
yeah.
So I do try and structure everything in the most fair way possible, with consideration to increasing the effectiveness of your education. And with that, Natalia, I don't need anything else from you. This was great. Trying to think if there's any little bits, but they'll have to come up. They'll have to come up in the future.
Yeah.
So what you'll see in Natalia's profile, you'll see some of her highlight videos, some of her assessments, how she's progressed over the years, some of the
Ooh,
videos that she has sent me to check in and ask questions. This being an online focused program, there's a lot of use of technology and sending videos and making sure I can coach you as often as possible. And then there's a huge accountability factor and a hump of comfort that you have to get over when you look at yourself honestly from assessment to the videos in between, and you have to be accountable to yourself and your results and your work. So take a look at Natalia walking the walk so that you don't think she's just a paid actress sitting here to talk. Um, and think to yourself, are you showing those kind of real results, those real shifts in how you look, how you feel, and then how you're thinking, how your emotional state is operating for you, or is it operating against you? And if your belief system, right, your actual spirit or your soul is aligned with what you're doing. All right,
yes.
so thank you so much, Natalia. I appreciate you deeply,
Thank you.
and I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll talk to you in a little bit, all right?
All right. Love you.
Love you.